Welcome to the Capital Compass. I'm Lindsay Melchick with Stockhouse Publishing. Today we're spotlighting a company that's aiming to meet the surging demand for critical minerals with one of the few fully permitted copper projects in the United States. Highland Copper Company is advancing its flagship copper wood project in Michigan's Upper Peninsula, a near-term development opportunity with 3.7 billion pounds of contained copper and an initial 11-year mine life. Now, the project stands out not only for its size and scalability, but also because it's fully permitted, a rare achievement in today's regulatory environment. Backed by institutional investors and supported by state and local stakeholders, Highland is aligning its development timeline with a broader push for U.S. critical mineral independence. Joining us today here at the studios is Highland Copper CEO Barry O Shea. So thank you for joining me today. This is a pleasure.
Nice to be here. Thank you.
So, I want to actually just jump right into this conversation if we can. Now, Copperwood, they are fully permitted and they are technically advanced. That we know for sure. So what are the remaining pieces that need to fall into place before a construction decision is made?
Well, I'm actually going to start with some really good work that we did in 2024. We did our initial site impacts. Really important to turn the site from a greenfield into a brownfield. It had some really nice byproducts. We started working with local contractors, really engaging with the local unions and working with the state authorities. So really gaining credibility in the region as we've done over the past many years. So now we stepped into 2025 and we're really turning the project with something that's been sitting at feasibility level for a period of time to a project that is truly ready for construction. In January of 2025, we initiated detailed engineering alongside our partners, DRA Global. With that, we did some metallurgical drilling in February to support a met test program. We really think that ultrafine flotation technology can have a really significant boost to the economics of the project. So through 2025, we'll be advancing our engineering, looking to de-risk and optimize the project, prepare ourselves for project financing, and ideally a construction and decision in 2026.
That's a big year in 2024. And now, all that coming down the pipeline, that's pretty exciting news for sure.
Yeah, Copperwood at the end of the day is one of the most advanced copper projects in the U.S. and it's time to build it.
It's time for it to move forward right now. So your model actually shows significant upside with a rising copper price. So really, how is the project positioned if the copper market doesn't go the way it's supposed to go in the near term?
Well, listen, I think Copperwood is robust to a whole series of copper prices. At a $4 copper price, that's actually the price that we did our feasibility study at, and it shows a good, robust project. At $4, it's 170 million NPV and an 18% IRR. But really where you see the torque is movement to $5. So that's a 25% increase in copper price. It gives rise to a 300% increase in net asset value. Naturally, we're sitting at around 450 or 460 today. So as you move along that curve, just incredible leverage. But we're not only depending on copper prices. There are other things that we can do. I mentioned the metallurgical test work to improve the grade recovery curve. There is significant capacity to add mine life to the project. And all of these things will continue to progress so that it's our execution alongside copper price that really adds value to the project.
Well, that shows some sustainability right there, that's for sure. Now, let's flip over. There is strong momentum and community support right now with state and federal focus on critical minerals. So, what's your prospects for securing government funding then?
Yeah, I'm going to start with that local support. I think it's really important. I think everybody knows you need to be welcome in the exact community that you work in. It's the Western Upper Peninsula. It's a historic mining district. There's a real nostalgia and love for mining. In the recent 6 months, we've gone out and received resolutions of support from 22 local units of government, from counties to townships to municipalities. So it really demonstrates that there's a true desire for the project. And with good reason. There are a whole host of things that this project will bring to the local area. Alongside that, there's obviously incredible bipartisan support at a state level. And of course, with the recent executive order at a federal level, the federal conversation around urgency for critical minerals and specifically copper has really intensified. So from local to state to federal, we're just feeling very welcome. Copperwood really is a project that needs to be built in the near term. In terms of financial support, you might know that the state of Michigan is considering giving us $50 million. That project nicely moved through the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. It was approved by the Michigan Strategic Fund, and it's also been approved at the House at the legislative level. It is now at the Senate Appropriations Committee, and I will acknowledge we've had some challenges there. And that's okay. At each level, different units of government are looking for a different level of understanding of the project. So we continue to educate the Senate on the merits of the project, and there really are many. It's quite a generational opportunity from an economic perspective. Of course, it brings a critical supply of copper into the U.S. And I think most importantly, acknowledging that the state of Michigan has very environmentally strong regulation. It's a project that can be built well for the local community sustainably and economic strength as well.
We're in some interesting times right now. So have that backing. That's pretty big news right there.
Indeed.
Yeah. Okay. So let's move on then. You do have some institutional backers like your largest shareholder, Orion. Okay. So that is clearly aligned. How do you see their involvement in the strategy when you're moving from development into production?
So first of all, through the early stages of development, it's really important to have strong, loyal shareholders like Orion. So we benefited from that. Orion have always seen, I think, the value of U.S. domestic copper production, and that's really playing out as we've seen over the past number of months. So we think the timing is right. And again, having Orion there, they've demonstrated on other projects real creative financing opportunities across the value chain from equity to debt and other pieces. So we think that they're going to play a strong role as we continue to move forward. And of course, that's going to be important as we consider project financing over the next year.
Okay, so if we further into that a little bit, with a large share count and more capital needed to move into production, how are you thinking about managing dilution and long-term share value then?
Sure. So let me start with the share count. Actually, we do have just over 700 million shares outstanding. That is something that we'd actually like to take care of to some degree with a share consolidation. You probably know to do a good share consolidation, you need a strong environment behind you, both macro and, of course, execution from a company perspective. And as we've laid out, we think there's going to be good opportunity for both of those through 2025. And ideally, we'll roll back the shares. I think that'll make the shares, just more reasonable, certainly from a U.S. Retail perspective. In terms of considering a project financing, naturally, we need to move our market cap along to be able to maintain appropriate dilution as we think about project financing. But you'll also know that to do an equity financing, it's at the tail end of a whole host of catalysts. We'll have worked through our engineering. We'll have understood the outcome of our metallurgical drill results. Ideally, we'll have had visibility, some of the state and federal funding opportunities that we have. We'll understand where the debt financing has landed. And all of these things will bring increased viability and, of course, share price appreciation before we consider that final piece. Dilution, of course, is important. We want to manage our shareholders as we work through this process.
Okay, Barry, we just have one question for you. Give us 3 points why investors should be looking at you right now.
Yeah, no, I think they should be. I think Highland Copper is one of the most advanced copper development assets in the U.S. At the moment. As a starting point, we're fully permitted. I think that is the key building block as you think about advancing into true construction. Number two, we provide really incredible leverage to changes in copper price. To give you a sense, a 25% increase in copper price from $4 to $5 gives rise to a 300% increase in net asset value. And lastly, it's our local support. We had 22 resolutions of support from all local units of government, municipalities, townships, counties. It's really reflected that we're welcome in the region. These are all the things that are the building blocks that make a project truly construction ready. So through this year, we have a host of catalysts, starting with detailed engineering. We're doing network to optimize the project, consideration of stepping into a project financing, and really get ourselves ready to develop our project in 2026.
Well, this has been such a delightful conversation and so much insight. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Again, that was Barry O Shea with Highland Copper Company. You can learn more about Highland over on their website at highlandcopper.com, and be sure to bookmark stockhouse.com for all of your market news. I'm Lindsay Malchuk. We will see you next time.